Have you ever noticed that the more you chase her attention, the more it slips through your fingers? It's a subtle, almost invisible dynamic, yet it shapes every interaction you have with women, whether you realize it or not. Right now, I want you to pause and think about the last time a woman ignored your messages, your calls, or even the moments you tried to be present. How did it make you feel? Frustrated. Frustrated that your efforts, your time, your attention didn't seem to matter. And here's the hard truth that most men never learn. This isn't about her being cruel. It's about how human psychology works and how attraction is silently governed by a set of rules you weren't taught in school. Before we go further, I want you to take a deep breath and promise yourself something. No judgment, no overthinking, no blaming anyone. Not her, not yourself. Just curiosity. That's the key to understanding what I'm about to explain. By the end of this conversation, you're going to see ignoring in a completely new light, not as rejection, but as a signal, a silent message that can actually reveal what she values most in a man, and how you can respond in a way that naturally draws her attention instead of pushing it away. Now, I also need to be honest with you. This isn't about tricks or manipulation. Reverse psychology is often misrepresented as some game you play to control someone's feelings. What I'm going to share is far deeper. It's about presence, self-respect, and the subtle shifts in behavior that naturally make someone curious about you without ever forcing it. When you understand this, ignoring stops being a frustrating experience and starts becoming an insight into her mind, and even more importantly, into your own. So here's my invitation. As we move through this, keep your mind open, keep your ego in check, and try to observe your reactions. Are you feeling impatience, anxiety, or even that small nagging fear that maybe she's slipping away? That's exactly where the learning begins. If you find yourself wanting to master this dynamic, stay with me until the end of this video. And while you're here, take a second to like this video and subscribe if you want more insights into female psychology and dating dynamics. I promise, this isn't about flashy promises. It's about understanding the invisible forces that govern attraction and how you can act with calm confidence in any situation where a woman seems distant or uninterested. Because the truth is, most men react instinctively, chasing, texting, over-explaining, and it never works. But the way I'm going to show you, the moment you stop chasing and start understanding, things shift in ways that feel natural, effortless, and yes, quietly powerful. Let's talk about why she might be ignoring you. And I want you to hear this clearly. It usually has very little to do with your worth, your charm, or your effort. Most men interpret silence as rejection, as a personal failure, but that's a misunderstanding of female psychology. A woman ignoring you is often not a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of her own internal state, her perception of your energy, and how she subconsciously measures interest and security. Women are wired to notice consistency, confidence, and calm presence. When you respond too quickly, text too often, or appear desperate for validation, it triggers a subtle alarm. This man's attention is easy, predictable, and emotionally available in a way that doesn't create tension or curiosity. And in human attraction, curiosity is one of the most powerful forces. Think about it. When someone is too accessible, too eager, or too reactive, the brain naturally reduces interest. Not because she doesn't like you, but because psychology is wired to value challenge, intrigue, and independence. Now, this is where reverse psychology comes in, but not in the way you've probably heard. It's not about mind games or manipulation. It's about understanding the silent language of attraction and responding in a way that naturally makes her notice your presence without you chasing it. The first principle is restraint. Restraint doesn't mean being cold or ignoring her entirely. It means giving her space while maintaining your own focus and momentum. By doing so, you communicate, without words, that your attention isn't something she can take for granted. The second principle is energy alignment. Your emotional state, your confidence, and your calmness carry more weight than any text, call, or gesture. When she senses a man who is composed, unshaken, and invested in his own life, it sparks a kind of quiet curiosity. Suddenly, the silence doesn't feel like rejection. It feels like a puzzle she wants to understand. And human psychology is designed to seek resolution. Her mind begins to wonder, why does he seem unaffected? What does he have that I don't? That's not manipulation. That's the natural attraction triggered when a man values himself first, rather than reacting to external validation. Third, it's about selective attention. Not every message, call, or invitation requires a response. By prioritizing your energy and responding thoughtfully, you show that your attention is a resource, not an obligation. And here's the subtle shift most men never realize. She will begin to notice not just what you do, but who you are and how you carry yourself in her absence. This is where the power of reverse psychology quietly emerges. It's also important to observe without judgment. When a woman ignores you, your natural instincts might trigger impatience, frustration, or self-doubt. Those feelings are normal, but if you act on them impulsively, you reinforce the pattern you're trying to change. Instead, notice them, acknowledge them, and let them pass. Your emotional equilibrium becomes magnetic. By understanding these three principles, restraint, energy alignment, and selective attention, you're no longer a man reacting blindly. You're a man observing, learning, and subtly influencing attraction through presence rather than pursuit. And the most remarkable part? When applied naturally, she may begin to initiate contact herself out of genuine curiosity and interest rather than obligation. Now that you understand why she might be ignoring you, let's focus on what you can do in the moments it's happening, without overthinking, without panicking, and without chasing her. Because this is where most men get it wrong. They see silence as a problem to fix, when in reality, it's an opportunity to demonstrate calm, confidence, and emotional independence, the very qualities that attract women naturally. The first step is to shift your focus entirely onto your own life. This doesn't mean ignoring her completely or being disinterested. It means prioritizing your energy toward things that make you grow, thrive, and feel fulfilled. Invest in your work, your hobbies, your physical fitness, and your friendships. When a woman senses that your life doesn't revolve around her validation, she begins to see you as a man of substance rather than a man of need. And that subtle shift in perception can be more attractive than any clever text or well-timed message. Next, pay attention to your responses. Not everything requires an immediate reply. When she ignores you, resist the urge to double text, explain yourself, or ask, "Why aren't you responding?" Instead, respond thoughtfully and deliberately when it's appropriate. Keep your tone light, calm, and confident. By doing this, you communicate that your attention is valuable and that you're capable of holding your own space without anxiety or neediness. That is a magnetic signal in human interaction. A man who is secure enough to remain calm, yet engaged, triggers curiosity and attraction. Another key behavior is subtle unpredictability. Women are wired to notice novelty and intrigue. You don't need to play games, but small changes in routine or energy create a sense of interest. Perhaps it's sharing something exciting from your day, sending a single unexpected message, or suggesting an activity without expectation. These small, intentional variations create a dynamic where she feels the pull of curiosity rather than obligation. It's a quiet psychological principle. Predictability without mystery often leads to indifference, while curiosity sparks engagement. Equally important is your internal dialogue. Notice your thoughts when she ignores you. Are you feeling insecure or imagining the worst? These reactions are natural, but they must be observed without allowing them to control your behavior. Shift your mindset from, "I need her attention to feel worthy," to, "I am complete on my own, and her attention is a compliment, not a necessity." This subtle mental reframing changes everything. It allows you to respond with calm energy rather than reactive emotion, and it positions you as someone whose presence is naturally compelling. Finally, focus on consistency in your self-respect. She may be testing boundaries, sometimes consciously, often unconsciously. Ignoring a man who is too eager is not cruelty. It is the human mind's way of assessing value, patience, and stability. By maintaining steady behavior, showing interest without desperation, and living a full life outside of her responses, you create a quiet tension that draws her toward you rather than pushing her away. Remember, attraction is not about forcing feelings, it's about embodying traits that are naturally magnetic: confidence, calm, unpredictability, and self-respect. When you integrate these behaviors, her silence transforms from a source of frustration into an invitation for curiosity and connection. And over time, you'll notice a shift, not because of what you say, but because of how you carry yourself when she's not responding. Now let's explore what's happening in her mind when you begin to respond differently, when you stop chasing, stop over-explaining, and start living your life fully. This is where the dynamic changes in ways most men never anticipate. Silence, when met with calm confidence, doesn't create rejection. It creates curiosity. And curiosity is one of the most powerful triggers of attraction. When a woman ignores you and you maintain your composure, she begins to reassess her perception of you. Human brains are wired to notice patterns, and suddenly your behavior no longer fits the expected script. She may have subconsciously assumed you would react with anxiety, overtexting, or attempts to gain reassurance. When you don't, a subtle tension emerges. It's not something she can immediately explain to herself, but she feels it, an energy of stability and independence that stands apart from the ordinary men she encounters. This tension can create an internal conflict. Part of her wants to pull away, to protect her sense of control, while another part becomes genuinely curious. She starts to wonder what it is about you that makes you so calm, so undisturbed, and so present in your own world. This is not manipulation. It's the natural consequence of a man demonstrating self-respect and emotional intelligence. She notices without needing words, and that silent observation plants the seeds of attraction more effectively than any message or compliment could. Another key element is the value of scarcity. When your attention is freely given, it loses perceived value. But when it's measured, deliberate, and paired with genuine engagement in your own life, she experiences it as a reward rather than an entitlement. And the human mind is wired to respond to rewards. It notices effort that is balanced with independence. That's why restraint in communication isn't just a strategy, it's a reflection of your inner stability, which she can sense even unconsciously. It's also essential to understand that her ignoring you is rarely about disinterest. Often, it is about her testing boundaries, assessing patience, or simply reacting to her own distractions and emotional patterns. Women are socialized to unconsciously observe men's behavior under conditions of non-response. How you act when she is absent often matters more than how you act when she is present. Remaining calm, grounded, and consistent signals that you are not a man who is easily swayed or destabilized, and that signal is inherently attractive. Finally, notice the small signs of internal shift in her behavior. She may begin to initiate contact, respond more openly, or display subtle curiosity in conversations. These are indicators that the psychological dynamic is moving in your favor. But the critical element remains. Your emotional state must remain steady. Attraction is rarely about frantic pursuit. It is about presence, consistency, and the quiet tension created when you are emotionally independent, yet available in a measured, confident way. By understanding these shifts in her mind, you can see that silence is not rejection. It's information. It tells you what she notices, what she values, and how your presence, when grounded in self-respect, becomes magnetic. This insight transforms frustration into understanding and puts you in a position of quiet influence, where her curiosity grows naturally and her attention follows, not because you demand it, but because you embody qualities she instinctively respects and desires. This tension can create an internal conflict. Part of her wants to pull away, to protect her sense of control, while another part becomes genuinely curious. She starts to wonder what it is about you that makes you so calm, so undisturbed, and so present in your own world. This is not manipulation. It's the natural consequence of a man demonstrating self-respect and emotional intelligence. She notices without needing words, and that silent observation plants the seeds of attraction more effectively than any message or compliment could. Now that you understand what's happening in her mind, let's focus on how to embody this calm, magnetic presence in your daily interactions. This is where theory becomes practice, and I want to emphasize, it's not about tricks or manipulation. It's about becoming a man who is emotionally grounded, self-aware, and naturally compelling, someone whose presence inspires curiosity and respect. The first practice is emotional discipline. When she ignores you or responds inconsistently, your instinct might be to feel anxious, frustrated, or even resentful. That's normal. But what separates men who attract and men who chase is how they handle those emotions. Instead of reacting impulsively, acknowledge the feeling, but don't act on it. Take a walk, focus on your work, engage with your friends, or immerse yourself in a passion. By doing this, you communicate silently, powerfully, that your stability doesn't depend on her reactions. Emotional independence is magnetic. The second practice is selective engagement. Respond with intention, not compulsion. Not every message, call, or social media interaction needs a reply. When you respond thoughtfully, briefly, and confidently, you signal that your attention is valuable. Over time, this creates a subtle tension. She notices that you are not easily available, and that naturally piques her interest. Remember, it's not about playing games. It's about respecting your own boundaries and energy. Third, cultivate a life that excites you. Women notice a man whose life is full and meaningful. When you invest in yourself, pursue your goals, and engage with your interests, you radiate an energy that's impossible to ignore. This isn't about showing off. It's about being fully present in your own world. She may notice it in small ways, your enthusiasm, your focus, or the quiet confidence in your demeanor. When your life has depth and purpose, her attention becomes a choice, not an obligation. Next, embrace subtle unpredictability. Consistency in your emotional presence is essential, but small variations in how you interact can spark curiosity. Share interesting stories, take initiative in suggesting plans, or introduce new topics in conversation. These shifts create mental stimulation and intrigue, which is the cornerstone of attraction. She begins to wonder, what is he thinking? What is he feeling? What is he up to? That curiosity draws her in, not your words, not your effort. Finally, practice internal observation. Notice your own thought patterns when she ignores you. Are you self-critical, anxious, or doubting your worth? Observe without judgment and consciously choose a mindset rooted in self-respect and abundance. Tell yourself, her attention is valuable, but my worth is inherent. I am complete on my own. This inner dialogue shapes your external behavior. Confidence that comes from self-awareness is felt in every interaction. It's visible even in silence. When these practices are integrated, emotional discipline, selective engagement, living a full life, subtle unpredictability, and conscious self-reflection, they form a powerful psychological combination. You are no longer reacting to her behavior. You are leading with presence, and the effect is profound. Her interest increases, not because you've tried harder, but because you've become a man whose energy naturally draws curiosity and attraction. Remember, attraction is a dance of subtlety. It isn't forced, it isn't frantic, and it isn't about games. It is about being a man who is emotionally stable, self-assured, and compelling by simply living his life with purpose and presence. This is the essence of reverse female psychology, not manipulation, but quiet influence. Now imagine she finally responds. Perhaps it's a message, a call, or even subtle attention when you see her in person. At this moment, everything you've learned is put to the test. Your natural instinct might be to dive back into old patterns, over-explaining, seeking validation, or trying to regain control. This is where most men sabotage months of subtle psychological work. But if you respond with calm awareness, your presence alone will speak louder than any words. The first principle is measured engagement. Respond thoughtfully, but don't overcommit your energy. Keep the conversation balanced. Ask questions that show curiosity without appearing desperate. Share moments of your own life, but never overexpose yourself. This creates a rhythm of interaction that is neither forced nor needy. It communicates that your attention is valuable and that your life is full even in her absence. The subtle effect? She begins to notice not just what you say, but the calm confidence behind your words. The second principle is patience. Attraction is rarely instantaneous. Even if she shows interest, allow the interaction to unfold naturally. Don't rush intimacy, validation, or emotional disclosure. The quiet tension you've created, the result of restraint, presence, and unpredictability, will continue to build. She will subconsciously recognize that your energy is not easily captured, and that recognition can heighten her curiosity and engagement over time. Third, continue to embody independence. Your life, your growth, and your passions remain the center of your energy. By doing so, you communicate that your attention is given freely, not extracted from need. This is the heart of reverse psychology applied ethically. Attraction grows when a man demonstrates self-respect and a life of substance rather than chasing someone else's approval. She may begin to initiate contact, ask questions, or show genuine curiosity, and each of these moments becomes a reflection of her responding to your energy, not the other way around. Equally important is awareness of subtle emotional cues. Women communicate far more through energy, tone, and small behaviors than through words. Notice when she mirrors your energy, seeks engagement, or displays playful curiosity. These are signs that the dynamic is shifting in your favor. Respond with calm, grounded confidence, never with need or urgency. By remaining emotionally steady, you reinforce a pattern of respect and intrigue that is magnetic, not manipulative. Finally, understand the ultimate mindset. Her attention is valuable, but your sense of self is priceless. By internalizing this, you remove the anxiety that fuels chasing and overreaction. You become a man whose presence is magnetic simply because it is whole, secure, and emotionally independent. Every silence, every pause, every carefully measured interaction is no longer a moment of uncertainty. It is a tool of quiet influence, a mirror reflecting your calm, confident energy. When you integrate everything, restraint, energy alignment, selective attention, presence, unpredictability, measured engagement, and emotional independence, you step into a new way of interacting. Ignoring is no longer frustrating. It is information. Attention is no longer demanded. It is received naturally. And attraction becomes an organic byproduct of being a man who is fully himself, whose energy draws curiosity, respect, and interest without forcing it. So, the next time a woman ignores you, remember this. It is not rejection. It is a signal. It is an opportunity to observe, to grow, and to embody the kind of presence that quietly commands attention. By acting with calm confidence, integrity, and self-respect, you shift the dynamic entirely, turning silence into curiosity and curiosity into genuine connection. This is the essence of reverse female psychology, not manipulation, but the mastery of presence, the art of quiet influence, and the understanding that your value is inherent, undeniable, and magnetic.